Welcome to the course. Introduction to Projects and Project Management. This is Course Valley. We provide visual summaries for online courses. Welcome to Course Valley. In today's video, we'll be diving into the Project Management course, Beginner to Project Manager on Udemy. Have you ever wondered how some people can manage projects so efficiently, staying on time and within budget? Well, that's what this course is all about. Whether you're just starting or looking to take your project management skills to the next level, you're in the right place. Let's start with the basics. What is a project? A project is a temporary endeavor aimed at creating a unique product, service, or result. It's different from regular business activities because it has a set start and end date. Projects require specific coordination of tasks, and let's face it, sometimes they can get pretty complex. So, how do you keep everything on track? That's where project management comes in. When managing a project, you've got to think about resources, time, and scope. But here's the thing, these aren't independent of each other. In fact, scope, time, and cost are interconnected, which is what we call the triple constraint. So, what exactly does this mean? Scope is the total work you need to complete in order to meet the project's goal. If you change the scope, chances are the cost and time will also change. Time is the amount of time you have to finish the project. If things get delayed, you'll need to adjust the scope or cost to make up for lost time. Cost involves the resources, like money and manpower, that are available for the project. Cutting costs could mean reducing the scope or extending the timeline. There's better ways to understand the triple constraint by remembering that if you adjust one part, the others will be affected. So, as a project manager, it's all about balancing these three factors to achieve the desired outcome. It's a bit like a puzzle, right? Why do companies execute projects? Now, let's talk about why companies even bother with projects. Why not just stick to regular operations? Well, here's the thing. Projects help businesses achieve strategic goals and gain benefits like increased revenue, better customer satisfaction, more efficient processes. Think of projects as investments. When companies start a project, they're using resources to generate something valuable in return. It's not like day-to-day business activities, which focus on keeping things running smoothly. Projects are about change, growth, and improvement. Let's try this. Think of a company launching a new app. The goal is to make life easier for customers, which can lead to increased customer loyalty and higher sales. That's the power of a well-executed project. Triggers for projects. So, how do projects get started? Well, there are several things that can trigger a project. Have you ever wondered what sparks these initiatives? Here are a few common triggers. Business need. When a company realizes something needs improvement, whether it's a process, a product, or even customer service, a project might be launched to address that gap. Market need. Sometimes, changes in the market can push companies to start a project. For example, if a competitor introduces a new product, you might need a project to develop something even better. Customer request. Customers might ask for specific features or improvements. When this happens, companies often initiate a project to meet those demands. Legal requirements. Sometimes, new laws or regulations require a project to ensure compliance. This is often the case in industries like healthcare or finance. Social need. Projects might also be driven by societal needs. For instance, companies might launch projects to address sustainability issues or community needs. Technological advances. Technology is always evolving. Have you ever thought about how tech advancements can drive projects? When new tools or innovations emerge, companies often start projects to integrate these advances. The role of the project manager. Who's responsible for all this? Enter the project manager. The project manager is the one who oversees the entire project, making sure everything is running smoothly. They're like the CEO of the project, making big decisions, managing risks, and making sure the project stays within budget, on time, and within scope. A project manager needs a variety of skills. Leadership. They need to motivate the team and ensure everyone is working toward the same goal. Communication: the project manager is the bridge between the team, stakeholders, and clients. Problem solving: projects often don't go exactly as planned, so being able to quickly solve problems is essential. Organizational skills: keeping everything organized, from timelines to resources, is key to project success. Project Management Office, PMO, project teams, and stakeholders. You might be wondering, who else is involved in the project process? Well, there are a few important groups that help make sure everything runs smoothly. Project Management Office, PMO. This is the department that coordinates and supports project-related work across the organization. They ensure that projects are aligned with company goals and that best practices are followed. Project Team. The project team consists of the experts who carry out the actual work. These individuals bring specific skills to the table and collaborate to achieve the project's goals. Project Stakeholders. These are the people or organizations who have an interest in the project's success. Stakeholders can influence the project and may include customers, suppliers, or even the local community. It's important to manage stakeholder expectations throughout the project. Program and portfolio management. Sometimes, a company doesn't just run one project. They may run multiple related projects, which are grouped into a program. A program is a collection of related projects managed in a coordinated way to achieve a bigger strategic goal. On a larger scale, companies often manage multiple programs and projects together as a portfolio. A portfolio is a collection of projects and programs that are managed together to achieve the company's strategic objectives. Project selection and methodologies. Before a project even begins, companies need to decide which projects to pursue. This process is called project selection, and it involves evaluating the potential benefits of a project, including its alignment with business goals and return on investment. Once a project is selected, companies choose a methodology to guide the project. There are two main approaches: waterfall and agile. Waterfall is a more traditional method where planning happens up front, and each phase is completed before moving to the next. Agile is a flexible, iterative approach where planning and execution happen in parallel, and changes can be made as the project progresses. Conclusion. So, whether you're new to project management or aiming to refine your skills, understanding the triple constraint, the project lifecycle, and the role of the project manager is essential. Remember, project management isn't just about delivering a product, it's about balancing scope, time, and cost to achieve the best possible outcome. The project phases. The 5 phases of the project lifecycle. According to the Project Management Institute, every project goes through 5 key phases: initiation, planning, execution, monitoring and control, and closure. Think of these phases like a roadmap. Each step builds upon the last to guide the project toward success. Let's explore each one in detail. 1. Initiation phase. Laying the foundation. Every project begins with an idea. But here's the question: is the idea actually worth pursuing? This is where the project sponsor steps in. Their job is to define the overall objective. What problem needs solving? Suggest an estimated budget and timeframe. Develop a business case to justify the project's value. At this stage, the project manager is also chosen to lead the initiative. Without proper initiation, a project can run into major obstacles later. So, this phase sets the foundation for everything that follows. 2. Planning phase, the make or break stage. Let's try this. Imagine setting out on a road trip without a map. How far would you get before running into problems? That's exactly why planning is so crucial in project management. A solid plan acts as the blueprint for success. During this phase, the project manager must define the work that needs to be done, organize how the project team will execute it, estimate resources, risks, and costs, document everything into a project management plan. This plan serves as the recipe for executing the project successfully. If planning is weak, the entire project is at risk of failure. 3. Execution phase, bringing the project to life. Now comes the action, the execution phase. This is where the project team rolls up their sleeves and starts creating the deliverables. Meanwhile, the project manager is responsible for ensuring the team stays on track, keeping the workflow smooth and productive, motivating the team and solving problems as they arise. But wait, how do we know if things are actually going as planned? That's where the next phase comes in. 4. Monitoring control phase, keeping the project on track. This phase runs in parallel with execution. The project manager is constantly tracking progress, making sure everything stays on schedule and within budget. The key tasks here include monitoring if the work is being executed as planned, ensuring the quality and speed align with the timeframe, checking if expenses are still within budget. And here's the catch: delays and issues are inevitable. The difference between success and failure lies in how quickly the project manager identifies and resolves them before they escalate. 5. Closure phase, wrapping it all up. So, the work is done. Does that mean the project is officially over? Not quite. The closure phase is just as important as the execution phase. The project manager must hand over the completed project to the intended stakeholders, obtain the final approval and sign-off from the sponsor, conduct a lessons learned session with the team. Here's an interesting fact: great project managers always look for ways to improve. That's why teams review what worked, what didn't, and what could be improved for future projects. Final thoughts. And that's the project lifecycle. From initiation to closure, every phase plays a crucial role in ensuring success. The initiation phase. Initiation phase overview. Every project starts with an idea, an organizational need that must be addressed. But not every idea becomes a project. That's where the project sponsor comes in. The project sponsor evaluates whether the idea is feasible and whether it can deliver the expected benefits to the organization. If the project seems promising, the next step is to bring a project manager on board. Now, here's something to think about. Not everything is a project. If a task is simple and can be handled by an internal department without significant resources, it's just regular business. A real project is a complex, temporary initiative that aligns with strategic objectives and requires structured execution. So, how does an idea officially turn into a project? That's where the business case comes in. Business case development. A business case is a document that justifies why a project should be approved. It's presented to the board of directors or decision makers to secure funding and resources. But what exactly does it include? The purpose of the project, the costs and expected financial gains, a detailed financial analysis, including projected revenues, expenses, and inflation factors. Once the business case is approved, the project is officially given the green light. But before execution begins, we need to define the project scope. Project scope definition. Think of the project scope as the blueprint for the entire initiative. It defines everything that needs to be done to achieve the goal. But here's the tricky part: gray areas. Have you ever started a task only to realize later that expectations weren't clear? That's what happens when project scope isn't well defined. To avoid confusion, the project sponsor, project manager, and project team work together to eliminate uncertainties. The project team includes specialists from various departments: production, IT, HR, and supply chain, each contributing their expertise. But here's something interesting. A project manager isn't obligated to accept the project. If the gathered information suggests the project is unrealistic, they can decline it. That's why conducting a feasibility study is crucial. Feasibility study. A feasibility study is a high-level analysis that answers one key question: can this project realistically succeed? It evaluates the goals, the scope, the available resources, time, budget, and workforce. The project sponsor plays a key role in this process, assessing whether the organization has the necessary budget, employees, and expertise to execute the project successfully. If the project doesn't pass this test, adjustments may be needed before moving forward. Risk assessment and managing expectations. Let's be real, every project has risks. But the key to success isn't avoiding risk. It's identifying, analyzing, and preparing for it. Stakeholders must discuss risks up front, ensuring everyone shares the same vision. The worst-case scenario? Moving forward without addressing misaligned expectation, leading to budget overruns, delays, or even project failure. This is why early risk assessment is non-negotiable. But before execution begins, one final document must be created: the project charter. Project charter creation. The project charter is like the official birth certificate of a project. It summarizes everything done in the initiation phase in a clear, high-level document. Here's what it includes: project ID and name, a unique identifier. Project description, the reason and goal of the project. Project objectives, what the project aims to achieve. Timeline and milestones, key deadlines. Project scope, what's included and what's not. Key stakeholders, clients, sponsors, and project managers. Main risks and mitigation strategies, how risks will be handled. Budget and financial constraints, funding details. A well-written project charter ensures everyone involved has a clear understanding of the project's purpose, boundaries, and responsibilities. Now, here's an interesting fact: the project manager can be appointed before or after the charter is written. But no matter when they join, the analyses conducted during the initiation phase are essential in setting the direction of the project. Final thoughts. And there you have it, the initiation phase of project management. From identifying a project need to securing approval and defining the project scope, every step is crucial in setting a strong foundation for success. The planning phase. What is project planning? Project planning is a detailed process of analyzing, evaluating, deciding, and organizing activities in advance. In simple terms, it answers three key questions. What needs to be done? How will we do it? When should it be completed? For complex projects, planning takes place on two levels. Strategic, should we do it? Tactical, how do we do it? The project manager plays a crucial role in this phase, adding value by meticulously outlining the who, what, when, and how of the entire project. Without proper planning, the risk of failure increases significantly. Why is planning critical? Think about this. Would you start building a house without a blueprint? Of course not. The same logic applies to project management. Planning is essential because it optimizes work and ensures efficient execution, aligns expectations among all stakeholders, reduces costly errors that could derail the project, increases the likelihood of success within time and budget. Here's an interesting insight. The more effort spent in planning, the less effort is needed during execution. Skipping this step often leads to delays, misalignment, and unnecessary rework. Some people think jumping straight into execution is the fastest way to get results. But there's a better way. Diligent planning minimizes risks and ensures a smoother workflow. The cost of change. Let's try this. Imagine making major design changes to a skyscraper after construction has already started. Sounds expensive, right? That's exactly how it works in project management. The later a change is made, the more costly and disruptive it becomes. Changes impact multiple project constraints. Budget, more money may be needed. Time, deadlines may be extended. Resources, additional manpower or materials may be required. Effective planning helps identify potential risks and reduce unnecessary changes that could derail the project. Planning your plan. Yes, you heard that right. You need to plan the planning process itself. Here's how a project manager ensures an efficient and well-structured plan. Assess existing knowledge. Do we have enough details to create a solid plan? Identify stakeholders. Who needs to be involved, and what are their expectations? Learn from past projects. What worked, and what didn't? Fill knowledge gaps. Do we need additional experts or resources? Set timelines. How much time do we need to prepare a robust plan? A good project manager ensures that every meeting, workshop, or discussion has a clear agenda to gather the right information efficiently. Project management insights. Here's something important to remember. Planning is an iterative process. It's not a one-time activity but an ongoing task that may require modifications and adjustments as new information arises. Challenges often come up, such as unexpected results from certain tasks, dependencies on external teams, or missing information. The need to revisit and refine earlier phases of the plan. A skilled project manager remains flexible and adaptive, ready to refine the plan whenever necessary. Scope planning, defining the work ahead. Scope planning is the first and most crucial aspect of project planning. It defines exactly what the project will entail before work begins. Here's a question. What exactly does the project team need to do? Scope planning involves translating the project goal into deliverables and tasks, determining what's included and what's not included, ensuring all requirements and expectations are clearly documented. The project manager relies on the project charter for high-level details, stakeholder discussions for additional clarity, their own expertise to fill in gaps and eliminate uncertainty. A well-defined scope helps prevent miscommunication, unrealistic expectations, and scope creep, where a project keeps expanding beyond its original objectives. Structuring the scope, work breakdown structure, WBS. Now, let's break things down further. Literally. The work breakdown structure, WBS, organizes project work into smaller, manageable sections. Think of it like a family tree, breaking down tasks into clear levels. It includes 3 key components. Scope statement, a formal document outlining all work to be done. Work breakdown structure, WBS, a visual segregation of work types. Activity list, a detailed breakdown of tasks and responsibilities. Each task is assigned to a specific person, team, or department to ensure clarity and accountability. Final thoughts. Planning isn't just about predicting the future, it's about shaping it. The better a project is planned, the smoother the execution, the fewer the risks, and the higher the chances of success. So, next time you start a project, remember, plan first, act second. The planning phase, timelines and schedules. Have you ever wondered how project managers keep their schedules on track, even when unexpected delays happen? Planning a project's timeline is not just about setting dates. It's about understanding dependencies, estimating durations, and preparing for uncertainties. Let's break it down step by step. Timeline and schedule planning. A logical process must be followed when planning a project's timeline. First, the project manager estimates the duration of each task, ensuring the schedule is both realistic and achievable. Next, buffers are added to account for uncertainties, and tasks are carefully sequenced. Only then can a complete project timeline be built. Estimating activity durations. Project managers must determine how long each task will take, whether in hours, days, weeks, or even years. But here's the challenge: estimating these durations isn't just guesswork. It requires expertise and validation. Consulting the project team helps, but the final responsibility always lies with the project manager. The planning fallacy and optimism bias. Have you ever thought a task would take an hour, only to find yourself still working on it hours later? That's the planning fallacy in action. People tend to underestimate the time required for tasks due to optimism bias, the belief that things will go smoother than they actually will. To avoid this, project managers conduct a SWOT analysis, identifying potential risks that could slow the project down. Recognizing these biases early helps in creating a more realistic schedule. Adding buffers, preparing for the unexpected. No project runs exactly as planned. That's why experienced project managers always build in time buffers. These buffers serve as a safety net against unforeseen delays. But how much extra time should be added? That depends on a few factors. Level of uncertainty: the more unpredictable the task, the bigger the buffer. Task criticality: if a delay in one task affects the whole project, a larger buffer is needed. Who's handling the task? Highly experienced team members may need less buffer time than less experienced ones. A well-placed buffer keeps a project on track while ensuring teams stay productive. Sequencing tasks and identifying dependencies. Some tasks can't begin until others are completed. This is where dependencies come in. There are 4 types of dependencies. Logical dependencies: when one task must finish before another can start. Resource constraints: when tasks are delayed due to limited staff or equipment. External dependencies: factors outside the team's control, like waiting for a supplier. Soft dependencies: optional sequencing choices made by the project manager. Understanding these relationships helps in structuring a smooth workflow and preventing bottlenecks. The critical path method: identifying the most important tasks. A project manager must identify the critical path, the longest sequence of dependent tasks that determine the project's overall duration. If any task on the critical path is delayed, the entire project will be delayed. Project managers map this path using a network diagram, ensuring they monitor critical tasks closely. Tasks that are not on the critical path have extra time, known as float, meaning they can be delayed without affecting the project deadline. The Gantt chart: a clear visual of the project timeline. A Gantt chart provides a visual timeline of the project, listing all tasks on the left and a calendar along the top. Each task is represented by a bar, showing its start and end dates. This makes it easy to see which tasks overlap and which are dependent on others. Building the project schedule, bringing everything together. After all the planning, it's time to create the actual schedule. Project management tools like Microsoft Project help by allowing managers to input dates, link tasks, assign resources, and automatically generate a Gantt chart. To keep stakeholders informed, a milestone table is created, highlighting key deliverables and achievements in the project. This gives a high-level overview of progress and keeps everyone aligned. Final thoughts. Planning a project timeline isn't just about setting dates. It's about anticipating challenges, structuring work efficiently, and ensuring the team stays on track. With a well-thought-out schedule, projects can run smoothly and achieve their objectives on time. The planning phase, cost. Budgeting is one of the most critical aspects of project management. Ensuring that every cost is accounted for and financial resources are allocated efficiently. Let's break down the budgeting process step by step. Budgeting process, planning for financial success. Planning a project's budget involves answering key questions. How much money is needed? What additional expenses might arise? How can we control spending and prevent overruns? Creating a detailed project budget starts with identifying cost-generating activities, estimating expenses, adding buffers, and determining when and how funds will be spent. However, optimism bias can lead to under-budgeting, so project managers must plan with a realistic and detailed approach. Cost planning, identifying and estimating expenses. The first step in cost planning is identifying all activities that generate costs. Missing just one activity can lead to budget overruns. Reviewing the work breakdown structure and activity list ensures that all cost-driving tasks are accounted for. When estimating costs, project managers must consider negotiations with vendors, material and equipment costs, internal company structures and policies, insights from past projects. Once costs are estimated, the next step is timing, determining when expenses will occur and when funds need to be acquired. Using a Gantt chart helps track when money will be spent across the project timeline. Resource procurement, getting what the project needs. When a company lacks the necessary resources, project managers must procure them externally. This involves choosing the right type of contract, balancing cost, risk, and flexibility. The three most common contract types are fixed-price contracts. The vendor agrees to complete the work for a set price. While this limits financial risk, vendors may increase the price upfront or reduce quality to protect their margins. Cost-plus contracts. The buyer covers all expenses incurred by the vendor. This allows flexibility but can lead to increased costs and extended project timelines. Time and materials contracts. A hybrid approach where the vendor is paid based on time worked, offering a balance of structure and adaptability. Procuring non-financial resources, human resources. A project's success isn't just about money. It's also about people. Human resource planning involves identifying the right talent, estimating the time needed, and confirming availability. To manage human resources effectively, project managers must define the roles required for the project, estimate the time needed for each role, validate team availability and coordinate with department heads, assign responsibilities and ensure accountability. Assigning roles, the RACI matrix. To avoid confusion and improve efficiency, project managers use a RACI matrix to define responsibilities. R. Responsible, the person who performs the task. Accountable, the person who ensures the task is completed, often the project manager. C. Consulted, experts or stakeholders providing input. I. Informed, those who need updates on progress. Clearly assigning these roles ensures smooth collaboration and prevents miscommunication. Ensuring quality, meeting project standards. Project managers must work with stakeholders to define and maintain quality standards throughout the project. A structured 5-step approach helps ensure this. Define quality requirements for the project deliverables. Set clear and measurable quality targets. Plan when and how quality will be measured. Finalize the quality plan. Adjust project constraints, scope, cost, or time, if necessary. While maintaining high-quality standards is essential, it can increase project costs and duration. So careful planning and reviews are crucial. Final thoughts. A well-planned budget ensures that projects stay on track, resources are used efficiently, and financial surprises are minimized. By planning for costs, managing procurement, assigning responsibilities, and ensuring quality, project managers can deliver successful outcomes. The planning phase: expectations, assumptions, and risks. Managing stakeholder expectations is one of the most crucial aspects of project success. When expectations are unclear or misaligned, misunderstandings arise, causing delays and dissatisfaction. Let's break down how project managers can effectively manage expectations, control assumptions, and plan for risks. Managing stakeholder expectations, aligning perspectives. A successful project isn't just about tasks and deadlines. It's about people. Each stakeholder comes with their own vision of success, shaped by personal experiences and biases. An expectation is a psychological picture of how an event will unfold. When people lack clear guidance, they often fill the gaps with their own assumptions and desires. To prevent misalignment, project managers should define the project scope early in workshops and meetings. Communicate expectations clearly and encourage stakeholders to do the same. Identify gaps between what is expected and what is feasible. Here are some key questions a project manager can ask stakeholders. How do you see the final product benefiting the organization? Is there anything we can add to improve the outcome? Do you agree with how the project scope is described? Constant communication is key. By keeping stakeholders informed, project managers prevent expectations from drifting, ensuring alignment throughout the project. Controlling assumptions, managing uncertainty. An assumption is something believed to be true without definite proof. In any project, some level of uncertainty is unavoidable. The more past data and experience a project manager has, the safer their assumptions will be. Team members and experts can provide estimates, but ultimately, the project manager must validate assumptions and understand how they were calculated. Assess uncertainty levels to determine how much buffer is needed. Identify risks that could disrupt these assumptions. Planning risk management, minimizing uncertainty. Risk management isn't just about avoiding problems, it's about preparing for them. A well-structured risk plan can eliminate delays and even prevent total project failure. Project managers follow a 3-step risk management process. Identify risks. Risks are documented in a risk log throughout the planning phase. Risks are uncovered through team discussions, expertise, and intuition. Analyze risks. Review severity. How much impact would the event have on the project's scope, budget, or timeline? Assess probability. What's the likelihood of the event happening? Use a simple scale, high, medium, low, or assign numerical probabilities. Prepare for action. Mitigation. Change something in advance to reduce the risk. Contingency. Create a plan B if the risk occurs. Building a risk log, proactive versus reactive approaches. Once risks are identified, project managers must decide how to handle them. There are two approaches. Mitigation, prevent the risk from happening or reduce its impact. Example, adjusting a design flaw early to eliminate a potential failure. Motivating a disengaged team member to prevent delays. Contingency planning, prepare a response if the risk does occur. Example, documenting a damage control strategy to minimize disruption. The risk log is a living document, constantly updated as new risks emerge or existing risks evolve. Regular communication with stakeholders helps identify risks early, allowing for better preparation. Final thoughts. A well-managed project isn't just about execution. It's about expectation management, assumption control, and proactive risk planning. By keeping stakeholders aligned, validating assumptions, and preparing for risks, project managers set the stage for success. The planning phase, change process. The key to project success is limiting the potential for change through effective planning. The fewer details missed in the planning phase, the smoother the execution. Let's explore how project managers can control changes, protect the project scope, and optimize planning for success. Limiting the potential for change. A well-structured plan acts as a safeguard against constant revisions. Comprehensive planning reduces the likelihood of changes during execution. By using effective planning techniques, project managers can minimize disruptions and maintain project stability. But when changes are inevitable, a structured process must be in place to manage them efficiently. The change control process, handling project modifications. Every project requires a clear change control process before execution begins. This process ensures that any modifications are evaluated, approved, and properly implemented. The steps of the change control process are as follows. A change is requested. This can come from a stakeholder, team member, or external factor. The request is analyzed. The project manager examines the impact of the change. A formal change request form is created, which includes the benefits of the change, what resources are required, how the change impacts the project. The project sponsor reviews the request. As the key decision maker providing resources, they must determine if the change is worthwhile. If approved, the project plan is updated. The project manager assesses which areas are impacted and adjusts accordingly. However, not every small change requires this process. Minor adjustments, such as a team member taking leave, are covered by project buffers. In extreme cases, if a requested change requires substantial additional resources, the project may even be cancelled if it no longer holds value. The scope statement, the project manager's shield. The scope statement is a project manager's defense against scope creep, uncontrolled project expansion. If a stakeholder challenges an aspect of the project, the project manager can refer to the scope statement to confirm what was agreed upon. However, if a stakeholder identifies a legitimate oversight, the change control process may be initiated. Strategic planning, the foundation of project success. Want to complete a project on time and within budget? Then meticulous planning is essential. Poor planning increases the chance of frequent changes, backtracking, delays and cost overruns. Planning is not a one-time process, it's iterative. New information may require revising and refining plans continuously. The project manager's responsibilities include understanding the project inside out, identifying key project sections and dependencies, gathering critical data and engaging stakeholders, ensuring planning is thorough in both breadth and depth. Once expectations are set, any discrepancies must be resolved. The final plan is then formalized and presented to the project sponsor for approval. Final thoughts. A well-planned project is a stable project. By limiting changes, managing scope, and refining planning, project managers can keep their projects on track. The execution phase, meetings. The planning is complete. Now, it's time for execution. The execution phase is where the project comes to life. The project team carries out the planned work, while the project manager oversees progress, manages communication, and ensures everything stays on track. But execution doesn't happen in isolation. It runs alongside monitoring and control to maintain project alignment. Let's break down how project execution starts and how to run a successful kickoff meeting. Kickoff meeting, setting the stage for success. Every project's execution phase begins with a kickoff meeting. This is where the project manager, client, sponsor, project team, and key stakeholders meet to review the project plan, discuss execution strategies, align on expectations, finalize approval processes. It's the last opportunity to validate plans before work begins. Kickoff meeting planning, be prepared. A well-organized kickoff meeting prevents confusion and sets the tone for the project. The project manager must schedule the meeting well in advance, 5 to 10 days. Book an appropriate venue and ensure equipment, like the projector, is functional. Send invitations to all stakeholders. What to present in the kickoff meeting? A structured presentation helps keep the discussion focused. The project manager should cover project goal and objective, why this project exists. Project scope, what's included and what's not. Project timeline, key milestones, Gantt chart, and critical path. Budget resources, the financial plan and what's needed to execute. Quality expectations, how quality will be measured and maintained. Potential risks, anticipated challenges and proposed solutions. Legal communication approach, any contractual aspects and how updates will be shared. Running the kickoff meeting effectively. Start with introductions, make sure everyone knows their roles. Validate the plans, walk through each aspect and answer questions. Handle disagreements diplomatically, if needed, escalate major issues to the project sponsor. Define approval processes, clarify how deliverables will be reviewed and accepted. Agree on progress updates, set expectations for status reports and check-ins. Pro tips for a smooth kickoff meeting. Verify details with experts before the meeting to justify planning decisions. If you don't know an answer, admit it, but commit to finding out. Address concerns proactively by adding them to the risk log. Avoid negative phrases like, "This can't be done," or "I don't know." Use inclusive language, saying "we" instead of "I" fosters team spirit. Send meeting minutes afterward as a formal record of commitments. Follow up on action items, set due dates to ensure accountability. Final thoughts. A well-executed kickoff meeting lays the foundation for a smooth project execution. When done right, it aligns teams, minimizes confusion, and sets clear expectations. The execution phase, project diary. Keeping track of actions during project execution is crucial. Projects are complex, and without proper tracking, miscommunication and misunderstandings can lead to inefficiencies. That's where the action owner due date concept comes in. What is the action owner due date concept? Think of it as a project diary, a structured way to record tasks, responsibilities, and deadlines throughout the execution phase. Every time an action or agreement is made, 3 key details must be recorded. What? Clearly describe the task to prevent ambiguity. Who? Assign a specific person to ensure accountability. When? Set a deadline to maintain focus and urgency. This simple method ensures clarity, prevents delays, and improves efficiency. Filling in the project diary, a must for success. Even with detailed planning, projects evolve over time, and every change needs to be formally recorded. Never rely on memory alone, even for simple tasks. Transparency matters, team members need to see what's happening. A well-documented diary helps future projects. Past actions provide valuable insights. The power of a project action log. A structured project diary, often called a project action log, keeps everyone aligned and accountable. It reduces mistakes, delays, and confusion while helping the project manager stay on top of everything. Want to keep your project execution phase smooth and efficient? Start using the action owner due date concept today. The execution phase, managing the team and work. Managing a project effectively requires 2 key skills: handling the work and leading the people. Managing the work, staying on top of tasks and deadlines. A project manager starts their day by reviewing the detailed project plan. What tasks are ongoing? What deadlines are approaching? What activities are due to start? They also check the project diary to track open actions and ensure task owners are on target. One of the most important responsibilities? Supervising the critical path. If the critical path is delayed, the entire project is delayed. Productivity is key. It's the balance between input, resources, and output, scope. A project manager ensures this ratio stays optimal. Additionally, they should always ask, is there a better way to sequence the work? Can workflow be optimized? Are team members communicating and suggesting improvements? While focusing on the critical path, the project manager must not ignore other activities, as neglected tasks can unexpectedly become critical. Managing the people, leading the team to success. Before execution begins, the project manager must set up their team for success. Clearly assign roles and responsibilities. Ensure training or upskilling is completed in time. During execution, strong leadership is required. The project manager should bridge communication gaps, ensuring team members understand their dependencies. An open-door policy helps resolve issues quickly and keeps motivation high. Regular communication about why their work matters increases engagement. What if someone is underperforming? First, discuss the issue and agree on a solution. If there's no improvement, consider pairing them with an expert or reallocating them to a less critical task. Feedback appreciation, the key to growth. After execution, constructive feedback is crucial. The project manager should highlight strengths, offer guidance for improvement, show appreciation, because without the team, the project wouldn't succeed. Feedback shouldn't wait until the end of the project. Regular encouragement boosts morale and productivity. Managing stakeholder communication. Effective communication keeps stakeholders engaged and informed. Regular project updates are essential. But during quiet periods, a quick check-in can ensure stakeholders are still satisfied. If problems arise, the project manager should be the first to raise them, always with a solution in hand. With strong work management, effective leadership, and clear communication, project execution can run smoothly and efficiently. Monitoring and control phase, keeping the project on track. Have you ever wondered how project managers keep everything running smoothly? Well, that's where the monitoring and control phase comes in. This phase runs alongside execution, making sure the project stays on schedule, within budget, and meets quality standards. At its core, this phase is all about checking progress against the plan. So, let's ask ourselves, are tasks moving fast enough? Are we staying within budget? Is the quality up to standard? With the right metrics, data collection, and variance analysis, project managers can spot issues early and make smart decisions. Key aspects of monitoring and control. 1. Metrics. How do we measure success? To know if a project's on track, we need measurable metrics like defect rates. Are we producing quality work? Cases resolved. How quickly are issues getting fixed? Compliance with safety regulations. Are we following the rules? Two, data collection. Staying in the loop. It's super important to keep an eye on real progress. Project managers often get updates from workstream leaders who report regularly on how things are going. Variance analysis, spotting the gaps. Sometimes, things don't go exactly as planned, and that's okay, as long as we catch it early. Here's what project managers track. Schedule variance, schedule performance index, which is SPI, cost variance, and cost performance index, CPI. Schedule variance is the indicator that can let us know if we are ahead or behind schedule. Plan value, PV. It shows how much progress we expected by now. Earned value, EV. This is the actual progress we've made so far. The formula to calculate will be EV minus PV. Schedule Performance Index, SPI. Want to know how well are we sticking to the schedule? It goes by this formula. EV divide PV. If the result shows SPI less than 1, we're actually behind schedule. And if the SPI more than 1, we're ahead. Cost variance. This tells us if we over or under budget. The formula is EV minus actual cost, which is AC. It shows positive value? We're under budget. And if it shows negative value? Oh, we're overspending. Now, let's move on to the Cost Performance Index, CPI. CPI answer the question of, are we spending efficiently? Formula, EV divide AC. CPI above 1? Great spending. CPI below 1? Time to tighten the budget. 4. Quality control, keeping standards high. Quality control happens at 3 important stages. Input, are our resources up to standard? Process, are we following every step properly? Output, are the final deliverables good enough for approval? 5. Risk control, staying ready for the unexpected. Let's face it, risks are unavoidable, but good project managers stay prepared. Keep the risk log updated. Adjust risk severity and probability as things evolve. Spot and record new risks before they become big problems. 6. Change control, managing adjustments wisely. Change is inevitable, but it needs to be handled carefully to avoid scope creep. Get detailed information on the proposed change. Assess how it impacts time, scope, and cost. Reject changes that don't add value. Prepare a change request form for sponsor approval. Fast-track low-impact changes without the red tape. Final thoughts. Mastering metrics, variance analysis, quality control, risk management, and change control helps project managers keep things on track and deliver successful projects. So next time you see a project running smoothly, you'll know there's a lot of careful monitoring and control happening behind the scenes. The execution phase, managing issues and keeping everyone informed. Ever wondered how project managers keep stakeholders in the loop and handle issues before they spiral out of control? That's what the execution phase is all about. Keeping stakeholders informed. Project report updates. As the project nears the end of execution, regular status reports become crucial. Why? Because they keep sponsors and stakeholders informed. Highlight issues before they become serious problems. These reports and meetings should be planned from day one, starting at the kickoff meeting. Make sure to define how often updates will happen, who needs to attend, what the standard agenda looks like. What should a weekly project update include? A solid project update keeps everyone aligned. Here's what it should cover. Cover page, basic project info. Agenda slide, topics, meeting details, and date. Timelines, a Gantt chart, milestone table, and high-level status overview. RAG status, red, amber, green. Green, everything's on track. Amber, there are issues, but they're being managed. Red, major problems, action needed as soon as possible. Workstream updates, how different parts of the project are progressing. Risk review. Updates on known risks, new risks, and contingency plans. Having a structured reporting system ensures transparency and keeps everyone on the same page. Handling issues during execution, the 4R framework. When issues pop up, and they will, project managers use the 4R framework to stay calm and solve them efficiently. React, assess the situation and control the impact. Read, get to the root of the problem. Respond, create and implement a corrective action plan. Resolve or repeat, monitor the results. If the issue remains, adjust and try again. Case study, how Ree solved a production delay. Let's talk about Ree, a project manager in car manufacturing. She noticed unexpected production delays. Here's how she tackled it. Step 1. React. Ree quickly gathered information. Step 2. Read. She met with Jeff, the manufacturing lead, and found out that software engineers were running late. Step 3. Respond. Ree called a meeting with Jeff, the IT manager, and the software team. The discovery: the IT team was installing unnecessary driving support gadgets meant only for exhibition cars. Step 4. Resolve. Ree instructed the team to skip the extra installations and focus on core manufacturing. Finally, she updated the sponsor with what the issue was, the root cause, how they solved it. The result? By the next status meeting, production was back on track. Problem solved. The closure phase, wrapping it up right. A project isn't truly finished until it's officially closed. Why is this phase so important? Because it ensures formal acceptance of deliverables, clear communication that the project is complete, reflection on lessons learned for future improvements, a well-deserved celebration of the team's success. Steps to successfully close a project. Now, here are the steps that perform to close a project. Step 1. Obtain formal acceptance. Even when all the work is done, the project sponsor must approve the final deliverables. For small projects, an email confirmation works. For larger projects, you'll need formal sign-offs or contracts. Don't forget to close any open contracts and make the final payments. Step 2. Communicate project completion. Send a clear and positive message announcing that the project is officially finished. Highlight major accomplishments. Give credit to the team. Ensure everyone knows the project is no longer active. Step 3. Collect lessons learned. Hold a lessons learned meeting and discuss. What went well? What challenges did we face? How can we improve future projects? Document these insights and add them to your company's knowledge base. Step 4. Celebrate success. Don't skip the celebration, it boosts team morale. A simple thank you note. A team lunch or dinner. Special rewards or bonuses. Final thoughts. Closing a project properly ties up loose ends and sets the stage for future success. By reflecting on what worked and what didn't, teams can get better with every project. Agile and waterfall project management, choosing the right approach. Have you ever wondered why some projects stick to a rigid plan while others evolve and adapt on the fly? It all comes down to the project management approach, and the two most popular ones are waterfall and agile. Let's break them down and figure out which one's right for you. Waterfall project management, the traditional approach. Waterfall is like following a recipe, step by step, no skipping ahead. Everything is planned 100% upfront before any work begins. The key features are clear stages, planning, execution, and followed by testing, always in that order. Minimal changes. Once execution starts, changes require formal approval. Defined dependencies. Tasks are strictly sequenced and estimated. When to use waterfall. You have well-defined requirements that won't change. The project has strict dependencies, like construction or manufacturing. Cost control and predictable timelines are a priority. But here's the catch. Waterfall lacks flexibility. If things change mid-project, it can lead to delays and extra costs. Agile project management. The flexible approach. Agile is more like building a puzzle without seeing the final picture. You figure it out as you go. The key features are iterative development. Work happens in small cycles, iterations. Flexible planning. The scope can change anytime to add more value. Real-time collaboration. Teams and clients work closely together. And lastly, frequent demos. Progress is reviewed often to stay on track. When to use Agile. You might use Agile as requirements are likely to evolve, like software development. When you need continuous feedback from users. Quick adaptation is essential for success. With Agile, clients validate outputs at every step, ensuring the final product meets expectations. Waterfall versus Agile. Which one's right for you? Waterfall is more high in predictability, structure, and detailed planning. Meanwhile, Agile is good in flexibility, speed, and continuous improvement. The best choice depends on your project's needs, complexity, and how adaptable you need to be. Waterfall project management. A structured, predictable approach. Waterfall follows a sequential, step-by-step process where everything is planned before execution begins. These are the key features of Waterfall. First, Waterfall perform predefined sequence. Every stage follows a fixed order. Clear dependencies. Tasks are planned in advance with little room for change. Predictable output. The final product is delivered at the end of the project. Strict scope budget. Requirements are set early to minimize disruptions. Waterfall is ideal for projects where clarity, structure, and predictability are critical. Agile project management. A flexible, adaptive approach. Different from Waterfall, Agile takes an iterative, cycle-based approach, allowing teams to adapt as they go. Here are the key features of Agile. A step-by-step execution. Agile is best when the product is built in small increments. Evolving requirements. Make sure the planning is ongoing, adjusting to new insights. Flexibility in scope. Changes are welcome as the project develops. Customer-centric. The focus is on delivering value early and often. Agile is perfect for projects that require flexibility and fast adaptation. Agile versus Waterfall. The final showdown. When it comes to project management, two heavyweight champions dominate the ring, Agile and Waterfall. Let's break it down. When handling uncertainty, Agile works best in projects with high uncertainty. Waterfall is best when everything's clearly defined. In scope requirements, Waterfall works best with fixed requirements, which means the scope is well defined from the start. Meanwhile, Agile shines when requirements evolve and expected to change. Next, let's talk about time budget. Waterfall is better for strict time and budget constraints, and Agile is more suitable when flexibility in budget and timelines is needed. Which projects suit each method? Now you might have question in mind. Which projects suit those method? Projects that benefit from Agile includes software development, product innovation, research development, content creation, and customizable client projects. How about the projects best for Waterfall? It includes construction projects, government projects, and any project with a strict step-by-step process. Hybrid approach, the best of both worlds? Someone as smart as you must have thought of this. What if we pick both? Some teams combine Agile and Waterfall by using a hybrid approach. For example, core project elements follow a strict Waterfall plan, while specific tasks are executed in Agile sprints. This approach can maximize predictability while maintaining flexibility. Here are the examples of hybrid in action. In software-hardware development, hardware follows Waterfall, while software is developed using Agile. In enterprise projects, initial research planning use Waterfall, but feature development happens in Agile sprints. The last example will be the marketing campaigns, where the high-level strategy is Waterfall, while content creation and A/B testing use Agile. Which one should you choose? If you need structure and control, Waterfall. If flexibility and adaptability are key, Agile. If you need both, a hybrid approach may be the great answer. Scrum, the powerhouse of Agile. Now let's talk about Scrum. You ever wondered how teams adapt quickly and still deliver amazing results? That's where Scrum shines. Scrum is an Agile project management framework that helps teams and organizations solve complex problems by adapting to change quickly and efficiently. Here is why Scrum works. Scrum works in small cycles, when the work happens in short, focused sprints. Team collaboration, everyone works closely to maximize value, and fast feedback, frequent check-ins keep the project on track. The 3 pillars of Scrum. Scrum is built on 3 core principles. Transparency, everyone on the team must have a clear and shared understanding of the project's progress. Inspection, frequent check-ins ensure that the project stays on track and issues are identified early. Adaptation, if something isn't working, teams adjust immediately instead of sticking to a rigid plan. These principles help Scrum teams stay flexible and responsive. After this, how about the Scrum Essentials? Scrum Essentials, what you need to know. 1. Scrum Artifacts, the project roadmap. In Scrum, artifacts are essential information radiators that provide transparency and help teams make decisions. It refers to how Scrum artifacts contribute to shaping a project's roadmap. These are the artifacts of Scrum. Product backlog, a living list of everything the project needs. Sprint backlog, the to-do list for the current sprint. Increment, a working piece of the product delivered at the end of the sprint. User stories, epics, descriptions of features and large work items. Minimum viable product, MVP, a bare-bones version that's still usable. 2. Scrum team, who's who? A Scrum team is a self-organizing, cross-functional group responsible for delivering valuable product increments. Unlike traditional project teams, Scrum teams focus on collaboration, flexibility, and continuous improvement. We have Product Owner, who sets priorities and manages the backlog. Development Team, the people who builds the product and adapts based on feedback. Scrum Master, the person who keeps the Scrum process running smoothly. 3. Scrum Events, how work happens. Scrum follows a structured framework with key events that help teams collaborate, plan, and deliver value efficiently. These events provide transparency, inspection, and adaptation, ensuring continuous progress. Sprint, the core work cycle, 1 to 4 weeks. Sprint planning, teams set goals and choose tasks. Daily Scrum, a quick daily check-in on progress. Sprint review, teams showcase their work and gather feedback. Sprint retrospective, reflect on what's working and how to improve. Backlog refinement, adjust priorities based on new insights. Why use Scrum? Scrum is one of the most popular agile frameworks, helping teams deliver high-quality products faster while staying flexible. But why should you use Scrum? Here are the key benefits. Faster delivery feedback. Higher adaptability to change. Improved collaboration transparency. Continuous product improvement. Which Scrum event do you think is the most important? Let us know in the comments section. You are now a project manager. Congratulations! You've completed your project management course, gaining a strong foundation in key concepts, tools, and techniques. Your project management journey begins. So what's next? Time to apply what you've learned in real-world projects. Try different experiment with different project structures. And continue refining your skills through experience. Keeping in mind that project management is a journey. So keep learning, adapting, and improving. Ready to take your skills further? Stay connected with Course Valley for more.